Okay, so today's examples are now going to be factoring trinomials that have no common factor that you could factor out, and now the leading coefficient is no longer going to be 1. So we're going to follow these 4 steps. Make sure you read them to yourself before, because I'm going to keep referring back to them. For example, 1, notice that the leading coefficient is 2. It's not 1. So the first step says what we do is we multiply the first number and the last number. 2 times -4 is -8, and that's our multiply number. Still going to add to that middle. So we need 2 numbers that multiply to -8, add to 7. So I could still find my table for -8. Okay, 1 times 8, 2 times 4, but it's -8. So one of the numbers needs to be negative. So here I made the 1 and the 2 negative, and it's -1 and 8. If those didn't work, I'd make the 8 or the 4 negative to see if that would work. So I found my 2 numbers, but now it's going to be different. Now, step 2, well, actually, that was step 2, finding the -1 and 8. Step 3, I'm going to bring down the first term, 2x squared. I'm bringing down the last term, -4. I am doing what's called splitting the middle. So that plus 7x is now going to become 2 terms whose coefficients are the -1 and the 8. So -1x and positive 8x now becomes the middle. I split the middle into 2 terms. So this line is now equivalent to the line above it, but there's 4 terms instead of 3. And now step 4 is factoring by grouping, which we did a couple days ago. So that's when I take a GCF for this group, which I find to be x. So I'm going to divide both of these terms by x, which will give me 2x minus 1. Bring down that plus sign. Here I could take out a 4 to the second group, divide both terms in the second group by 4, get 2x minus 1, and just like happened last time, the 2 parentheses are going to have the same thing in it if you're doing it correctly. So I could write that 2x minus 1 that I got once, and then the 2 numbers in front of the parentheses, x plus 4. So it puts together what we learned with the trinomials, with the add multiply, with what we learned about the factoring by grouping. Now the next one. Again, it's 3 terms now. 1, 2, 3, still a trinomial, but now the leading coefficient is no longer 1, it's 4. So what do we have to do? We have to first find that number by multiplying the first number and the last number, getting -12. That's my multiply number. My add number is going to be that number in the middle, which in this case is -1. So I'm still going to get my table on the side with numbers that multiply to -12. So 1 times 12, 2 times 6, 3 times 4. One of the numbers are going to need to be negative for them to multiply to -12. I'm going to make the bigger ones negative now. And 3 and -4 are my numbers that also add to -1. So that's my step 2, finding the 3 and the -4 that are going to be my coefficients when I split the middle. So my first term's going to come down 4x squared. My last term, -3. But I'm going to split the middle, that -1x, I'm now going to rewrite as, what are the 2 numbers I came up with? 3 and -4. I like to put the -1 first. Sometimes you won't have the choice. Plus 3x. And then we're going to split the middle. So I'm going to factor out actually a 4x here. So 4x, the other factor is x minus 1. I'm bringing down the plus sign. I could factor out a 3 from the second group, get x minus 1, and again, I have the same thing inside the parentheses for both, so that x minus 1 comes down, and then 4x plus 3, the 2 numbers in front.